This mat is intended to be used for morning work, which ideally means that the work can be done by the student independently. However, in practice that is not always the case, so I'm going to show you how you would assist a student with this board. At the top I have my name, which would be the student's name, along with some letters. The purpose of these is to serve as an example because the first thing they'll do in the morning when they come to school is they'll pick up the marker, look at what's on the top line, and copy it down here. Then they'll pick up a marker and copy that top part down. This is them practicing handwriting and letter formation. And it might look sloppy or it might look great or somewhere in between. And then the next thing they're going to do is either fix the handwriting if some of the letters need work, which they most likely will, or you could save that for later and just move on to the math. The number is 3, so they'll draw some dots to correspond to that, write a number sentence that corresponds to it, and then start on the magnets, filling in the ones that match. And then checking their work by drawing the picture along the way. After this is done and all the work is checked, then you can take the magnets off, erase whatever's on here, and go back to fixing the handwriting, or if you already did that, then you're done. So this is an example of what the student's handwriting might end up looking like. As you can see, not all of these letters are beautiful, so you could do this a couple of ways. You could stop the student right after they finish writing the entire line and then help them pick out some letters that need work. So you might say, which of these letters don't look like the letters I drew up here or I wrote up here? And hopefully the student will be able to see that their B's don't quite match. This B is backwards, and their K's have big spaces, unlike the K's up here. But they might not be able to tell you which letters need the most work, so as the instructor, you can help them, you can point them out to the student. So I would point out to the student the uppercase B's, the lowercase B's, and the K's, even though all of the letters are a little bit iffy. So you could either erase and have them rewrite it right now, or what I would do is just take note on a separate piece of paper of the 3 letters you want to work on, erase all of it, and come back to the handwriting later. The reason I erased everything is because we're moving on to the math portion next, and it can be overwhelming to have all that text up top and all the text on the bottom when you're just trying to concentrate on the stuff in the middle. I did leave the 3 though, because that is the student's target number for this week. So the first thing to do is fill in the number bond. We already have the total here, so just have the student make some dots to equal 3. They might choose to do all 3 in one and 0 down here, or they might put 2 on the top and 1 on the bottom, or some other combination that flips it. Once they have this, they can make a number sentence using the number bond. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. Then you can move on to the magnets. The magnets here are the set that goes from 1 to 5. So in each pile there are 5 magnets, and the value of the magnet corresponds to 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. That's true for the counting on fingers, it's true for all of these number sentences, and it's also true for these pieces here. These are ones pieces, like if I had a stick that's equal to 10 and some squares that are equal to 1. And I purposely arranged the squares in such a way that they could be subitized. So for example, over here I have 8. I don't know why I have 8. It does not belong in this set, but it's here. So it's in sets of 2. 2, 2, 2, and 2. And that's so a student can see, oh, 8 is made out of 4 sets of 2. Or this one over here, it has 5 altogether. A student can see, oh, 5 is made from 3 and 2. As for the number sentences, they're pretty straightforward. The only thing worth pointing out is that I drew some dots on some of them. Oh, I'm missing some. And that is so that the student can do touch math if need be. So touch math involves starting on the large number, or in this case the same number, and then counting on based on the dots. So 2, 3, 4. 2 plus 2 equals 4. The student might use touch math to do these addition problems if they can't tell right away which number sentence is equal to the total they're after. And if they need to do the math problem using the number bond, that might be helpful as well. I like to start with counting on fingers. So I would first have the student show me the number 3 on their fingers, like this, and then they would pick from the magnets which of these shows somebody holding up 3 fingers. The student picks it out, sticks it on, and it is color-coded, so it's easier to figure out which magnet goes where. And then you move on to the next one. Now we have coins. And it doesn't actually matter what order you go in, but I go with the big ones first. So I have these choices. The student finds the one that's worth 3 cents. Not 3 coins, but 3 cents. Happens to be 3 coins this time, but like for a nickel, it would just be 1 single coin. I put that down, put the rest of the magnets aside, and then I move to the next one. For these, there's a top portion and a bottom portion. The bottom one, where the words are, that's where the number sentence is going to go. And then the top ones are where the visual is going to go. So for the 10 frame, I have these number sentences. They are in green to match. And I would ask my student, which of these number sentences adds up to 3? Or which of these number sentences has a sum of 3? And they might be able to get it easily, really quickly, or they might go and do each individual problem. 1 plus 1, 0 plus 1, all the way down. If they do each math problem, you can barely see it, but I put little dots on the smaller number so that it can be done using touch math. So for example, this would be 4, 5, 3, 4, 2, 3. Stick on the appropriate magnet and put the rest aside. Then you can take your marker back out, or your student can take the marker back out and fill in the 10 frame based on this number sentence, which is 1 plus 2 more. 1, 2. And they see 1, 2, 3. I got the matching number. Now I'm going to do the dice. Same kind of thing. I have a magnet. I pick the one with the correct answer. Or the student picks the one with the correct answer, and then they fill in the corresponding boxes. So I draw 2 dots here and 1 dot here. 2, 3. If I'm counting on. Then I would move to the 10s and 1s. Show the number sentences. The student picks the one that matches. And then this one actually has magnets to go with it. And they would pick the one that matches. And next one is tally marks. Show the number sentences. The student picks the appropriate one. And draw that many tally marks. 2 and 1 more. 3. Sometimes the student might get the answer wrong. So let's say we're working on 3 and they put this number sentence down. It's very tempting to call them out right away and say, oops, something's wrong here. But I urge you to stay quiet and see if they figure it out on their own. So because I have the 10 frame here, this gives the student a chance to check their work without needing assistance from the instructor. So they could go 1 and 3 more. 1, 2, 3. At that point, the student might realize, oh, I have 4 dots. This must not be right. And then they take it off and look back at their other choices. The same applies for the dice. Let's say the student put down 1 plus 1 for our 3. Well, then they would check their work by drawing the dots. 1 here, they add them together, 1, 2. That's not right, so now they know to look back at the magnets again, and they find the one that actually matches, and adjust their drawing to match as well. When you're done with the math section, you can have the student check their work, and then put the magnets away, and move on to handwriting if you haven't already done the corrections. As I said earlier, you might decide to have the student correct their handwriting right away before you do the math section, or you might decide to do what I'm doing, which is to break it up. So do the handwriting, then the math, and then the corrections on the handwriting. So I remember that my student had trouble with B's. My student was writing them like this, and they were flipping the B's, or sometimes writing it like that without it all the way at the bottom in the yellow. And also my K's, kind of like my B's, had separate segments that did not meet in the center. So instead of just writing the letters correctly up here, I'm going to write them in a way that shows my student how to form them. So the B, for example, I'll draw a line and then a 3. So basically I'm writing 13. Do that twice, and then some regular B's. And then for these ones, this one's just going to take some repetition. I'll just draw them normally. And then my K, similar to my B, I'm going to separate it so my student can see how the lines can be formed. Instead of like this, it'll be like a sideways V, or an arrow. Then it will be my student's turn, and hopefully by separating those and then putting them together, my student is able to form the letters as they are meant to be formed.